Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cub Chat Live. Happy Friday. We hope you're all having a good day. This is our favorite time of the week. I say that every Friday, Christine, but this is my favorite time of the week. My name's Aaron. I'll be your host today for the next 30 minutes or so as we talk about a kind of an interesting, as always, topic related to Cub Scouts. I'm joined today. Obviously, we always get great guests on the show, and today is no different. I'm joined today by Christine. Christine is the Cub Master of Pack 36 in
Vineland.
New Jersey. Christine, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm honored to be here.
We are so happy to have you here. We chose a topic that was chosen today by by Christine, by our good friend Anthony, by our good friend Audrey. The idea kind of is building a pack community. We believe that a healthy Cub Scout pack, the best, healthiest, most thriving Cub Scout packs, are ones who have created a real sort of family, community friendly type atmosphere where everybody feels sort of empowered to contribute, right, and to have their say, to volunteer, all that good stuff like that. Christine, do I have
Yes,
that topic right? Is that kind of the idea for today?
that is kind of the idea. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate that. Well, let's start off, Christine. Like I said, we always get the best volunteers. And the reason why is because a guy like me, I work for the BSA. But the volunteers, we understand that's the folks who make the program go. Christine, just like all you folks watching, she is a volunteer. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, Christine, first of all, and how you got involved in Cub Scouts.
Yeah, Aaron. I'm Christine Pepe, Cub Master of Pack 36 in Vineland. Called first five years ago, my boys came home with a flyer, from school. Like, typically all the kids come home with a flyer, and they were excited to, try something new. So we headed over to the church. Where our pack was having meetings, and we get there and there's a bunch of parents, and there's really not a whole lot going on, right? There's maybe like 4 or 5 scouts kind of running around in just regular clothes, no uniforms, and then come to find out, there was just a couple of scouts there. They're just trying to keep the pack going, and I kind of call it a perfect storm of things that happened. There's like 5 or 6 of us parents were there, either teachers or parents who were already really active in the PTO at our schools. And we just kind of said, hey, you know what? Let's get together and, let's make this happen for our kids. Our kids were all super excited to be, part of Cub Scouts. So we decided, hey, we're going to take this over. And, we don't know anything about Scouts. We didn't have any big experience in Cub Scouts or anything. So it's kind of, learn as we go. And, we just took it slow, but our approach from the very beginning when we all got together to take this pack over was, family activities. And every activity that we do is always a family activity.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I would bet that a lot of our viewers can relate to that story. That's a situation that we hear about quite a bit. By the way, we've got quite a few people watching. Feel free to leave your comments. You might show up on the screen just like Carrie's comment. Thank you, Carrie. We appreciate that. Hopefully you enjoyed today's show. Montana Council is watching. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate that so much. Leave your shout outs in the comments. And if you have any questions for myself or Christine, but let's be honest, mostly Christine, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. She can share some of her experience and some of her expertise. Speaking of communities, we've got a community going right here, Christine. We've got a community of you and me and our viewers watching, and we're just going to have a little conversation here. Christine just kind of told us about her history with her Cub Scouts, how she got involved. No previous experience in scouting, which is cool. And that happens a lot, obviously. And look at her now with her uniform on and everything like that. 5 years later, I think this is, right?
Yeah, 5 years later.
Your child is an Arrow of Light. Would that be right?
My boys are now crossed over into Boy Scouts, but I am still Cub Master of the pack.
Okay, awesome. So that's when you know you have a dedicated volunteer. Well, actually, let's start with that, Christine. Why did you decide to stick with it?
Well, because I think of our pack as my second family, actually.
Okay.
We just created, family friendships, within our pack. I met, a lot of people there, and we're still, friends outside of Cub Scouts as well as inside Cub Scouts. And I just think of it as like our second family, and we all get together and, just, do, fun stuff.
Awesome. Yes. Well, that is kind of the idea. It should be a family friendly type environment. So let's get into to kind of the nitty grit and the details on how you guys made that happen. Did you guys do anything special? You were previously committee chair.
Right.
Did your committee do anything special to get parents and families involved? Did you beg and plead? Did you send out flyers? Did you send phone calls? I'm just curious to know what you guys did.
Well, basically, our approach from the beginning has always been um, the fact that we're selling two separate things, right? To the scouts, we're selling the fun. We're selling all the fun stuff that we do. We do Pinewood Derby, we make cars and we race them. We go fishing and hiking and camping and all the fun stuff. That's what they want to hear about. To
Right?
our parents and to our families, we are selling fun, safe family activities that you can do for free or maybe just a small cost. And me, I know how much it costs to take my family out. I'm a family of four, and I know how much it costs to take my family out to the
Oh
movies
my
or,
gosh.
it's expensive. It's expensive. So, let us give you an excellent, either an afternoon, a whole day, sometimes even a whole weekend family activity to do, which is safe and fun, sometimes educational, very, very low cost, or sometimes free.
Hmm. Yes, we took our family to a Texas Rangers baseball game the other day, Christine, and had a great time. But for four of us to go to a Major League Baseball game, eat
Yes.
food, four tickets, parking, yeah, a
Yes.
Cub Scout campout's nothing
Right.
more often than not compared to
Yep.
that. And that's a whole weekend of outdoors. Boy, I totally agree with your comment about what kids want to know and what parents want to know. And my experience when my son was I'm a recovering Cub master myself, Christine, and when my son was in Cub Scouts, it was the same thing. We really emphasized to the kids, we're just going to go have fun. You're going to have fun with your friends. You kind of whisper to the parents, by the way, they're going to learn a lot too. They're going to develop character. They're going to do all of that. Um, Scott comments and says, how ironic, this topic was on my heart this week. I was brainstorming how to build a better community in our pack. Perfect.
Right.
Scott, thank you for
That's
tuning
awesome.
in.
Yeah.
That's exactly the idea. So let's again talk a little bit more for now about the leadership side of things in your pack, specific your pack committee. Describe to me kind of what your committee meetings were like. I know there's different philosophies out there. People do it
Yeah.
different ways. How did you guys do it?
Our committee meetings are super casual. In the beginning, we were meeting at our previous Cub Master's house, and we would meet in her dining room, and we would have snacks, and it was just very, very casual, fun and casual because we were all friends by that point. Just talk about things that we are activities for the year, just kind of plan out our calendar, and we always open up to any parent who wants to stop by and talk to us and meet us and hang out with us. And then we had COVID, so we were doing it by Zoom for almost a whole year, which was okay. It was okay. It was a lot more convenient for people to be on Zoom because you can join Zoom wherever you're at in your car, if you're on the job or but we're back in person now, which is great. And we'll even meet like at a restaurant, and have some snacks and iced tea for everybody. And we just keep it super casual. We don't want it, to seem like a job. We don't want it to seem like work. We want it to seem like fun because Cub Scouts is fun. We're selling the fun, right, to the kids. So our committee meetings should be just as fun.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, Christine, when you have a committee meeting, who do you invite? I mean, you invite the committee, but who is that in your pack?
In our pack, it's our Cub Master, myself, our committee chair, our treasurer, our secretary, our assistant Cub Master, and then we always open it up to any parent who wants to come and hang
Okay.
out with us.
Yeah,
Anybody who wants to come out and hang out with us.
that was kind of a game changer for me, Christine. I kind of figured that out about halfway through my tenure as a Cub Master, and I had a conversation with our committee chair and said, "What are we doing? Only inviting like five or six of us to these committee meetings? Why do we not just send an email out to the entire pack and just say anyone's welcome to show up? You can participate or not participate. Who knows? There might
Yeah,
be a future volunteer in there." Um,
you're absolutely right, and that's how it happens. I mean, that's how we got three new leaders this year, not from committee meetings, but just because they've been coming to our family events and they've been
mhm.
coming to these activities and are saying, "Hey, this is great. I can bring my family to these activities. I want to be a part of this." So we that's how we got three new leaders this year.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's how it should be. I was going to ask you actually about leadership. transition and things like that, and keeping that pipeline going. But first, I want to let you mention like family activities. What kind of family activities you guys do? Camping, I'm sure.
We do camping. We have a big fishing derby, which all the families are always invited to. We do hiking. We also have hiking club. We started that about 4 years ago. Hiking is one of my passions. I love hiking with my kids, and I just wanted to share it with other families. I thought, hey, let's just see if this takes off. So we started a hiking club, and it's basically the scouts can earn little things for their hiking stick for every 5 or 10 miles that they hike as an
Mm-hmm.
incentive. And their goal is for 100 miles to get there by the time they turn arrow of light and crossing over to get the big foxtail for your hiking stick. It's like the big award, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that is one of our big family activities. We always try to keep it close to home. And I've talked to other cub masters who go hiking and they say, "Oh, we go up North Jersey and we do here and it's great." But I purposely keep it close to home because I want to show our families like, "Hey, you can come back again with your family. It's
Mm-hmm.
not far. You can spend the day here with your family. It doesn't cost any money. Pack a lunch, bring a frisbee, bring, your family friends with you. And this is, something that you can do with your family." Um, and we do. I will always post if it's stroller friendly, pet friendly. And we have families in our pack who've been in Vineland their whole life and have said to me, like, "God, I never knew this place was here." And it's in Vineland, like in Vineland. And they're like, "I never knew it was even here."
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting when I can show a family of someplace where they can take their family for an afternoon to enjoy an afternoon that's free, doesn't cost anything, and it's so close to home.
Yeah, and and we know from talking to folks, from doing surveys, talking to people in the community, talking to non-scouting families, what families want is an opportunity to do things with their kids and with other people, members of a community. Boom, Cub Scouts.
Yeah,
I mean, what more do you need to say? I have two
yeah.
words, Cub Scouts. So perfect, Christine. Glad to hear that. A good comment from Arnold, who says this topic is the subject of our next Cub Scout roundtable as our district's Cub Scout roundtable commissioner, besides his other 5 adult leader roles. Thank you, Arnold. We appreciate your service. Looking forward to ideas to add to my presentation. Arnold, we appreciate you watching as always. Shout out to everybody else who's watching. A few folks are saying hi in the comments. We appreciate that
Mhm.
very, very much. Okay, so family hike, for example, family outing, it sounds like that kind of thing. Bring your frisbees. You guys probably either pack food or cook some food along the way or something like that. While you're doing these things, Christine, how much like Cub Scout advancement are you checking off? Is that a big deal? Is that a big part of these events? Do you sort of leave that for meetings and separately? I'm just curious. How do you work that into your schedule?
It is for some of our events. I try to focus on our pack meeting activities, which are pack meetings at the end of the month, and that's where we give out our Cub awards to all of our Cub Scouts so far. But we always try to plan an activity along with our pack meeting. So usually those activities, sometimes it's a bicycle rodeo. We have the violent police come and talk to our scouts about bicycle safety, and I was marking off requirements, for our scouts. So those activities basically we kind of plan to mark off requirements. But the fun stuff for family activities like camping is um, um, things we can check off as well. But for the most part, the family activities are just, things for our families to do together.
Awesome, awesome. So, and you kind of almost answer a question for me just there, but I want to talk about a little bit more. We talked earlier about how how you guys run your committee meetings. I guess you don't run them anymore as Cub Master, your committee chair does, but you used to. Now you run the pack meetings, monthly pack meetings. So just tell me about your philosophy about that. I know you kind of mentioned that a little bit, but if you could, what's your philosophy generally on pack meetings? I'm sure, again, once again, families are invited.
Yeah.
Do they participate? Is it hands-on for everybody? How does that work?
It's typically it's hands-on for all our families. The first portion, we get together, give out our awards to the scouts, and then we go right into our activity. At the end of May, we had an outdoor bicycle rodeo where all the scouts had the opportunity to either bring their bicycle or their scooter. The police were there. We had an obstacle course set up, so it's just a fun family thing. Sometimes we'll do a service project, like maybe coloring placemats for the veterans home or making cards for the veterans home. And that, again, it's a family activity. It's all hands on family activities, doing
Mhm.
something together with your scouts.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. One of the, again, looking back in hindsight, Christine, I wish I knew then what I knew now. One of the mistakes I made as Cub Master was oftentimes our Cub meetings, our pack meetings, excuse me, ended up being, a 10 or 15 minutes worth of announcements, which I kind of wish I hadn't done that. I'm guessing what's your philosophy? You guys save all that for committee meetings? Do you communicate those announcements via email, text, Facebook? What do you do with those?
Yeah, we have a pack Facebook page. So I try to save all my announcements for the Facebook page.
Okay.
So we use Facebook and also Remind. So we use both.
Hmm.
Either you're on Facebook Remind or both. And I try to save everything for that because I do notice that during pack meetings or any other big activities, it's hard to do announcements, right? Because there's parents helping their scouts and doing things, and
Totally.
families are over here talking over here and talking over here. So it's kind of hard to do announcements. So we just save that for Facebook or Remind.
Excellent. So we got a question from Cub Scout Pack 30 in Gainesville, Haymarket. I'm guessing that's Florida. For events that you guys do, like the hike, who is coordinating and running those events? Do you run all those yourself, Christine? How does that work?
I actually do. I actually will plan all the hikes. I go to all the hikes because I love hiking.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I actually attend all the hikes. And when we go, I always will research the area that I'm going to, and it's usually like a nature preserve. And then I will, give a little talk to the scouts about, why this preserve is here, why, that it was created to protect a certain moth or something, and why it's important to our environment. And that's why we're hiking here to go see all this. So I just try to do like a little bit of research before I go. But yeah, I coordinate it and I run the hiking stick program. But our other committee members and leaders help out as well.
Hmm. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Appreciate that question from Cub Scout Pack 30. So, Christine, obviously, you've got your monthly pack meetings, or you can almost call them pack activities. In your case, it sounds like, which is great. And then you've got your dens. I'm curious now, both as committee chair and as Cub Master. I feel like the den meetings sometimes for a Cub Master committee chair, that can make you a little bit nervous because you can't control that. You're relying on den leaders there.
Mhm.
But as Anthony Berger has told us many times, one of the main reasons kids quit Cub Scouts is because their den is just not active enough. Their den doesn't do that much. So I would love to know, Christine, your thoughts on how do you create healthy dens? It's all part of the whole process, right? The whole program. You can't have a healthy pack. You can't have a healthy culture without healthy dens. Your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that is we've been kind of fortunate. Most of our den leaders are teachers. So I have the utmost, faith in our planning for, teachers planning activities, doing things with our dens. I am also a den leader, so I have two roles.
Mm-hmm.
I am also a den leader as well. So I do a lot of planning, and I also help other dens do planning as well, just to make sure that we're all doing something weekly, um, which is fun. Um, educational, exciting for the scouts, but they're still marking off those requirements that they need.
Yes, excellent. Very, very good. Christine, don't be nervous. We have someone watching from Germany. I just want to point that out real quick. Heather, thank you for watching. Quick shout out to Joe and David, who's also watching. David's from Pack 77 in Charlottesville. Joe, thank you for watching. Appreciate that. I want to make sure, I think we said hi to Dina and Brian, Carrie and Matt. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it very, very much. Okay, so again, your kids have moved into Scouts BSA. You have
Yeah.
elected to stay as Cub Master, which we appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of those kids who are your kids' age, their parents were leaders, and are probably
Mhm.
some of them. I doubt they all stuck around. I mean, you couldn't be that lucky. You had to replace some den leaders. You've had to replace, I'm sure,
Mhm.
committee chairs, whoever else. Your philosophy on that? Where do you get your future volunteers from? How do you keep that pipeline going?
Well, basically, it's the parents who are coming in that when I see them, I see myself in them. When I first came into Cub Scouts, I was excited. I was very enthusiastic. Not that I'm not now, but I was
Mm-hmm.
very excited, very enthusiastic. I was, looking forward to planning stuff. And I can see that in parents when they join in, they're excited. They come to every event, they come to every den meeting. They're always asking if they can help, what can I do to help? Those are the parents that I feel are going to carry on our pack and keep it a strong family pack. Because I've always we've always said from the beginning that we are a family pack. We always welcome families to come to every meeting, every activity. And back a long time ago, Scouts was not like that. Scouts was, you probably had an after school meeting where you went after school without your parent, and you met at a hall or someone's house, and then you went home afterwards. So we do take a lot of pride in creating just fun family activities for our Scouts.
Yes, yes. Excellent, excellent. Heather comments, it's tough running packs overseas. Heather's the one from Germany. Heather, I would love follow up with that. Let us know what situation you're in and what if you're running, maybe you're running a pack in Germany, a Cub Scout, BSA Cub Scout pack in Germany. Let us know in the comments what your experience is like. Maybe we could have some advice or thoughts to share for you. Hello, Vicky's watching from San Angelo. We appreciate you tuning in as well. Christine, um, so we talked about hikes. We talked about your pack meetings, your Cub Scout meetings, your den meetings. Let's talk about recruiting. It is that time of the year. Do you guys have a school night for scouting or something like that coming up?
We have a sign up night coming up.
Sign up night. Okay, tell me about how you guys do that.
Yeah, typically we have our hall set up with all of the poster boards and pictures and all the fun stuff because we're selling the fun to the kids. So we have all that stuff set up for the kids to see. Typically we have like a fun, quick activity for the kids and for our Scouts, and it's usually run by our older den chiefs who are my kids and our other den leaders' kids from the troop now. They come and they help to run the activity for the kids. And then we have a part of the evening where we're just talking to parents about our program and about all of the fun family stuff that we have planned for the year. We show them our schedule, and we just have a little chat with them.
Try to keep it casually, I imagine.
Very casual, very
Mhm.
casual. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Excellent. Do you have someone, I'm just curious, come in from your district and do a presentation, or is it pretty much all you and your pack leaders?
We do have someone from our district come in and talk to, not really a formal presentation.
Okay.
We just kind of keep it like a mingling atmosphere, like parents are mingling, talking to each other. um you know Maybe they'll see other parents from the schools. So we just try to keep it real casual, mingle atmosphere. We always find that if it's a sit down thing where someone's doing a presentation, we kind of lose a lot of people.
For
So
sure.
we just try to keep it very casual. We just feel we get better results that way for our pack anyway.
Sure, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking. Montana Council comments that the National BSA Cub Scout and We Below Leader notebooks are filled with great programs, ideas, games, songs, etc. 100% agree. Thank you for that comment, guys. And you also mentioned, Christine, I want to talk just a few minutes more about, you said you bring in some den chiefs. So just clarification for the folks who may not be familiar, a den chief is a Scouts BSA member
Yes.
who comes back and serves as a helper leader in the Cub Scout pack. You have a couple of good sources of den chiefs. It sounds like in your own kids. That's great. But boy, when a young potential Cub Scout sees an older kid, a few years older, they're not so much older that they can't relate to them, but they're
Yes.
older enough that they seem kind of cool and they seem
Mhm.
like leaders, and they're like, man, these guys have their stuff together. They enjoyed Cub Scouts. That seems to make a big difference. Christine, I'm curious your philosophy on why do you bring in den chiefs?
And that's absolutely exactly why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Our Cub Scouts are very familiar with the Den Chiefs because they were part of our pack,
Right.
and they already know them, and they come back and they're in this whole new uniform and they have a sash with merit badges, and it blows our mind. They start asking questions, how do you get the merit badges, and what's this cord for? And it's exciting to the Cub Scouts to see their fellow Cub Scouts now in like a whole different, light. So, and hopefully that just inspires them to carry over into a BSA.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, I Darren comments having a den chief in your Webelos 2 group is priceless. 100% agree, Darren. I remember when I only was lucky enough to have a den chief one year when I was my son's den leader, and they listened to him way more than they would ever listen to me. I mean, his job one meeting was to teach them how to set up a tent, and man, he nailed it. And boy, they were just enwrapped by everything, hung on every word that he had to say. And I'm thinking, why don't you guys ever behave this well for me? But yeah, hence the value of the den chief. Guys, we have just a few more minutes with Christine. Arnold always has a good comment here with us here. Let's check this one out here. Arnold says, as a Cub Master, he suggests dropping by each den meeting just to see how the den meetings are going. PAC requires den leaders to hold a minimum of 2 meetings a month. Den leaders use their Facebook page to schedule all the leaders. If den leaders are doing that much, yeah, I think what he's saying is, again, one of the problems that we have occasionally when kids drop out is that the dens aren't active, they aren't meeting enough. So that's a
Right.
good way to just sort of check in.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, it's not the den leader's fault, right? They're overwhelmed,
Yeah.
they're at their wits' end, and that's a great way to just sort of check in.
And our dens meet at the same time every
Right.
week. So we meet in a hall together at the same time. We're together, but we're not together. We're all
Yes.
in separate dens.
Right.
So it's really holds accountability for our other den leaders to come and show up and do what they have to do because we're all together doing it. And it's just easy that way because if somebody really can't make it, we can combine dens for the evening.
I 100% support that. Another game changer for me was when we started doing that, having all dens meeting. We met in our school cafeteria, spread out at different tables, doing our own activities, unless maybe someone was outside or something like that. 100% agree with that idea. Elizabeth has a good comment. She says they have an open house at their school with a trifold that they always use, and they have a QR code that people can scan, takes them to a page with a link about information on the pack. We actually talked about QR codes in the last couple of episodes, Elizabeth. I don't remember if you were one of our viewers there or not, but if you weren't, you can go back and watch all previous episodes, including this one. This one will be in the archives as well.
And I actually just did a whole QR code presentation board for our county fair. I did videos of our Cub Masters in our area introducing themselves and talking about their pack, and I did it all QR code form. So somebody who was at the fair could come to the table and say, "Hey, pack one, Cub Master Amy, so and so. Let me scan this," and it was a video of her. "Hi, my name is Amy. We're pack one from Bridgeton, and
That's
we're
awesome.
and there was a whole QR thing for all of our Cub Masters, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm like, that's kind of cool because we don't really have to be here all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
if we're not here, people can still see us and hear us and find out what our pack's about.
Yes, excellent. Sadia has a question. Where do you have din meetings together? I think what Sadia means is find the space. We used to do it in our school cafeteria. It was big enough. Where'd you say you guys do yours, Christine?
We have it at church hall. So it is
Okay.
a very large church hall and we can spread out, adequately to where we're not, hitting each other or doing anything. So we do have enough space.
Yeah, I can see how that could be a challenge, Sadia. If you don't have enough space, I would suggest outdoors is always a good option if it's not too hot, if the weather cooperates. But yeah, I do. That could be a challenge for some folks who don't have access to a large space like that. But again, there's nothing wrong with having meetings, next to each other. As Christine said, if a den leader can't show up or can't make it, you just join up together, find an activity that you guys can both do. Heather has filled in a little bit more. I just want to read her comments. She's the one coming to us from Germany. She says that a lot of overseas packs are run by active duty military. It's a constant rotating door of leaders. I could see the challenge there every 2 to 3 years. Leaders and scouts rotates out. They're limited for fundraising. They're limited for packing spaces, pack meeting spaces. She does say that they use QR codes, and that QR codes are great. Heather, I do understand that challenge. God bless you. I know there's not a whole lot you can do about that, right? That's just the nature of those probably transatlantic council or whatever it is, Far East Council troops, where they rotate in and out like that. The Cub Scout motto is do your best. We've never gotten mad at anybody as long as they were doing their best. That's all we could say. Carrie comments that they have recruiting nights planned out at schools by their local council. Their local council does 3 schools per unit. Good. If that works out for you guys, Carrie, I think that's awesome. I hope that some of your troop lead or troop pack leaders have a presence there at least so they can be there to answer questions. But if you have members from your council that are willing to plan and run those nights, hey, one less thing you have to worry about that. Elizabeth, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Unfortunately, our schools don't allow that right now. So
right.
we plan a sign up night, but our council does send flyers out to all the schools on our behalf, which is nice.
That's definitely a situation where it's going to greatly depend on your kind of school access you had. We were very lucky for one stretch. Our committee chair was also the president of our PTA. So during that time, we got a
Nice.
lot of school access, but that totally can depend. So yeah, there's different challenges there going as to that will determine where you have your school night, who plans it out. all that good stuff like that. Elizabeth follows up a little bit and says they meet at the park for den meetings. The public library is also good for pack meetings. She says that's interesting. Maybe you could find a room in a public library. Interesting, Elizabeth. Appreciate you weighing in there. Heather, we're going a little bit over time, but you got a few more minutes to stick around.
Yeah, sure.
We've got a couple of more questions. Heather asks, how do you deal with large dens? Have you ever had an experience with a den that was maybe getting a little bit up there in size?
Absolutely, I have. It was my Weeblo den. I had 14 scouts in my Weeblo den. So in that case, we just split up and made patrols. So we had patrol 1, patrol 2, and it was really fun because they got to pick a patrol hatch, and they made patrol flags. So then we had 2 groups of 7. So I took a group of 7, and my assistant den leader had a group of 7. We were doing the same activity, but we were at separate tables, and it was a more manageable group that way. And then for certain things, we came together, but for the most part, for our every week meetings, we kind of split into our patrols and worked that way. It was just a lot easier. And then also the scouts they were getting a lot more out of the meeting too, because it wasn't so confusing with all the 14 kids.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Heather says it looks like around 12 to 15 they had. Yeah, I definitely would advise splitting that up into 2. She says, what about for wolves? I think that would apply for any den. She says that might work for Webelos. I think that would work. Doesn't matter what age they are. You could split them up like that. And there's nothing that says you can't come together for certain activities, split up for other activities. That's when your assistant den leader comes in comments. Christine, it sounds like maybe technically speaking, it was one den with 2 different patrols. You could also have literally 2 separate dens.
Absolutely.
Either way would work. But I think having 2 different patrols like that might be a little bit lower maintenance because you don't have to worry about getting a second den leader registered and all that stuff like that. But I think whatever works for your situation would work fine. Heather says, sorry for asking another question. Heather, there's no reason to apologize. We love it. This is what Christine and I would be doing this anyway. Even if we weren't on a video, we'd be talking Cub Scouts right now anyway.
I have hours. I'm fine.
Exactly. We appreciate that very, very much. Here's an interesting comment, Christine. And I had this experience as a Cub Scout leader when you're dealing with young kids. They have energy. Sometimes, they've been in school all day. Maybe they don't want to sit still. I mean, I'm not saying I've ever experienced this, but maybe for some folks, the meetings have gotten a little bit chaotic. Christine, what do we do when it gets a little out of hand?
We go outside.
Yep. I was going to say that's perfect.
We try to take them outside. We do have chaotic meetings sometimes, because let's be honest, kids are kids, and by that point, sometime later on in the day, if you have scouts that maybe have like ADD or ADHD, and by that point of the day, they're just kind of running around crazy and everything. But yeah, at that point, we either take them outside and do something fun outside, or we just do our best.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
That's exactly right. I fell back on the do your best all the time. Yes. And there's no reason to, some nights they're just not going to do what you want them to do.
But we keep it pretty structured. Yeah, for our pack, we do keep it pretty structured because we are a larger pack. So when we come in, our scouts know that they have to go sit at their table until we call them to the front to get lined up for opening. And then we do our opening. So we are pretty structured. So at this point, all our scouts kind of know what to do when they come in.
Okay. Well, that's probably good advice right there, to have a structured schedule like that so they know what to expect. And I would add to that, starting on time is probably important for something like that. So they know they're expected to be there on time. You don't just let them wander in over a period of 5 to 10 minutes. I've made that mistake before as well. Heather says, thanks for the advice. And by the way, we've got some other folks commenting in. Heather, be sure you read the comments because other folks are kind of commenting too. For example, Elizabeth says, for certain activities, do the work together, or else split them into 2. We've got another question, Christine. I hope you're okay with it. Is your pack single gender? Do you have boys and girls?
We are a boy-girl pack.
Boy-girl pack. Okay. How do you handle boys and girl dens in the same level? Do you meet together and follow the same schedule? If there's a boy and girl den, how do you guys work that out?
We do meet together. We combine and we do meet together. We just make sure that we have a female leader in place. If we need to go out on a field trip or something, we just make sure that we have our female leaders are in place, in case we have to take them to the restroom or something like that. But yeah, we combine. Yeah.
Elizabeth is, boy, she's given a lot of good advice. Elizabeth, we appreciate that comment very much. Heather says, do your best, love it. I agree. Brian asks, what about smaller packs? Brian, maybe more detail there. What about smaller packs? Smaller packs are good. I feel like a smaller pack, same kind of rules applies as a larger pack. How many guys do you guys have in your pack, Christine, total youth
Currently,
members?
we have 37,
Okay,
37 in our
that
pack.
seems like
Yeah,
a
I mean,
pretty
like,
good, pretty healthy size.
it's a pretty healthy size. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate it. This has been an excellent conversation. We've got tons and tons of folks commenting and watching. We
Yeah, it
appreciate
was
that
awesome.
very much, guys. Montana Council wants to say, look at that. They say, thank you, Christine. We appreciate that very, very much. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. As a reminder, this video will stay on this Facebook page along with all the past episodes of Cub Shout Live. You can read them all or view them all right here. Share them with your friends. Share them with your family members. Share them with potential Cub Scout families who haven't joined yet. They don't know future. I call them future Cub Scout families because they just don't know it yet. They just haven't quite signed up yet. Again, the comments are continuing. Keep those guys going. There's a lot of good discussion, lots of idea sharing, which we love to see. Christine, thank you so much again for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Aaron. I enjoyed
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. This was great, everybody. Thank you for watching. We will be back next Friday at the same time with another episode of Cub Chat Live. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Christine, especially you. Have a good weekend. We'll see everybody later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.